Well, hello out there, everybody. Today we are going to do a Bible review of the Cambridge ESV Clarion Reference Edition. We did the other two premium Bibles that I have, both made by Cambridge, the wide margin and the Pit Minion. So if you didn't get a chance to see those, you can go check those out. Those are great Bibles. Those are my Bibles. This Bible I'm stealing from my wife for the time being. This is actually a great little Bible, but this is the Cambridge ESV Clarion Reference Edition Bible. ESV, if you don't know, stands for English Standard Version, and this is, I'm going to say, their mid-sized Bible. So the Pit Minion is real super small. It's great for travel. This one isn't bad for travel either, really. The wide margin is pretty big. So mine lives here. I bought this for my wife because she didn't need the wide margin for now. This Bible is great, in my opinion, to just read because it fits in your hand nicely. I'm an adult male. We'll do the measurements in just a minute, but you can kind of see how it fits in a hand. It's just about the same thickness as the wide margin, actually, but it's really comfortable. So of course it comes in with a nice Cambridge box, and I keep the boxes just in case for travel. They sit there, and of course the Cambridge guarantee. Cambridge University Press is the oldest printer and publisher in the world. They've been printing Bibles since about 1591, it looks like. And this is their... actually, the company, before I purchased my first Bible, I emailed them and asked them a couple questions. One was in regards to the text, the ESV text. And people have asked me, is it the 2016 text, or the 2009 text, or what is it? It's the 2011 text. The first two that I did, the actual text is the 2011 ESV text. I emailed them and called them on the phone and asked, hey, tell me about this. What's the difference in the text? And from Cambridge, now, again, this is just from Cambridge, there's only essentially one text edition. And what they said was that they have different printings. 2009, they produced a bunch of Bibles. 2016, they produced a bunch of Bibles. But the actual text, the actual biblical scriptural text, according to the lady that I talked to, didn't really change between 2009 and 2016, which is why the text edition is 2011. That's from them. So that's a little bit of extra information for you. But this is the Cambridge Clarion. I really like this Bible. It's a great Bible for her to sit and read, for me to sit and read, actually. 5.5 inches wide by 7.5 inches. And it is on the thicker side. So it's 1.5 inches. If you're looking for something super tiny that's just going to sit in your pocket, this one's not going to sit in your pocket, most likely. But it'll for sure fit in a purse or a backpack pretty easily. This is the brown calfskin. And again, if you're not super familiar with premium Bibles, or at the very least Cambridge Bibles, these first few pages are sewn into the block. So a lot of times on just standard Bibles, this piece here or one page later, it ends up ripping apart and you end up taping it. I've duct taped many a Bible together, but with Cambridge, they sew it into the block and you're not going to run into that problem, at the very least, as much as just a standard Bible that you might buy. Because this block is sewn in together in a bunch of different pieces. They actually have a video. I think it's on their website. I'll try to post a link to it someday. And it's actually pretty interesting to watch them produce a Bible. So the leather's real nice and supple. It's not quite as bendy, for lack of a better term, as the goat skin. But you know what? You could barely tell the difference. It's a little bit smoother than the goat skin to the touch, but it still is very malleable. It still lays flat. Not very many Bibles that you buy brand new do you open up and do that too. Let's find Genesis 21. Okay, you're still pretty flat, especially considering how thick this Bible is. So you get your standard. I told you this is my wife's Bible. You get your standard title page and the information about it, Cambridge Press, the text edition. And that may or may not be important to you, what the text edition is. And you can do some research on the text editions of different Bibles and different companies and what changed. If you're an ESV person, what changed? If you're an NIV, something might have changed in the text. They might have changed a few words, and that might be important to you to know what the difference was for which text edition you want. It always comes with a little preface to the English Standard Version and why it is the English Standard Version, how they translated it, who helped, and then it gives you some explanation of the footnotes and the features. This is a reference edition. So after that, you get into the actual text. Now, if you haven't noticed already, this is single column. Some people love single column. I actually really like single column myself, but I don't mind the dual column, and I love my two Bibles. This is really nice to just sit and read. Most Bibles typically tend to be dual column, and you'll get the references in the middle or at the bottom. So here you have the references that flow right alongside the single text. I think it's about between an 8 and a 9 point lexicon, I believe. Don't hold me to that. But again, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to tell because you can't just go put 9-point font on your computer to see what it looks like. You kind of have to see it in person. This, I have no problem. I don't have any vision problems. My wife does wear glasses, and she also has no problems holding this at arm's length and reading it. The print is actually really nice. And again, Cambridge uses, this is called ghosting. You can see it a little bit, like between these two paragraphs. I'll hold it even a little bit closer. So between these two paragraphs, this is called ghosting, where it bleeds through. Now, Cambridge is pretty known for their paper. This paper is not quite as thick as the wide margin, so you get it a little bit more, but you only get ghosting where there's no words, because they use what's called line matching. So it's kind of hard to tell, especially in the video. But see these lines here, they match up exactly on the other side with the words and the lines on the other side. So you're not going to get a whole lot of ghosting in between, which really makes it quite a bit more pleasant to the eye. If you can see between these two lines, there are no words or markings. So it makes it a lot more pleasant to just sit and read through, in my opinion. That might not bother you. There's not a ton of room to write. This is probably you can write in any Bible. Use different colored pens to underline and highlight, of course. I'm a big proponent of writing in your Bibles. But there's not a big wide margin for you to take copious notes. You're going to have to, excuse me, you're going to have some other system of symbols or just highlighting and jotting down little notes in this particular text. So again, New Testament, Old Testament, single column, references are on the side. You also get some footnotes and references that bleed over on a page like this. Look at how many references are on this page. So it just bleeds over. This may or may not bother you. Not every single book starts at the top of the page. It doesn't bother me. Some of them do fall, but they don't waste an entire page just to start at the top. So sometimes you're going to get books that start in the middle of the page. When each individual text was written, there were no numbers, there were no lines. It just was a scroll, right? So not as big of a deal that it doesn't start. But you should know, if you're going to spend money on a premium Bible, what it looks like. So this Bible, of course, in the back has a small concordance. These concordances I've found that Cambridge has put out are actually pretty good. Compared to some of the other Bibles that I have, there's a lot of information in these concordances. I don't tend to use them a ton, but just if I'm looking up a word or something like that, I've had some pretty good luck with them, and it's pretty extensive for a Bible concordance. There is no real extra paper like in the wide margin. There's extra blank sheets. This Bible doesn't have that, but it does have a pretty nice concordance. And then you flip to the back and you'll get your maps. It has a list of the maps. You see there's about 15. And this also gives you a like a map index. So it'll tell you if you're looking for something specific, which map to go to and where. The maps are pretty vibrant and colorful. You do have a few blank pages in the back if you want to keep some kind of notes or some kind of note-taking system, or even like a travel log like I have in my Pit Minion. You can write it in the back. Now, of course, we're going to mention the ribbons because I at least want you to know if this is the only Bible review you ever write. This is a great Bible. It's a good size. You know, you can hold it in your hand. You can carry it. Bring it to church with you. You know, not a big deal when you hold it flat. But you need to know that this particular Bible, I'd have to double check, but I think it runs at about $140. But of course, you're going to get the Cambridge ribbons. These ones actually aren't too bad. They are flat in there. I have two Bibles where they're not flat, and what I mean is that they don't lay flat like that. They are all crinkled up, and that bothers me. And this is also Cambridge quality ribbon. So this is not the best ribbon in the world. They are replaceable. I'm still working on that because I got to find the right ribbon on my other two Bibles. So they are replaceable, but it's not the highest quality ribbon in the world, and you only get two. I found that the more you read and the more you get into the Bible, like I would like to have at least three, but you don't even get that option. Beautiful art gilding on the sides. And of course, in the margin you get Holy Bible English Standard Version made by Cambridge. So there it is, the Cambridge ESV Clarion Reference Edition Bible. This is a great Bible. There's one thing that I want to mention to you other than the ribbons, and it's not going to do it for me today, but you can find pictures out there or reviews where it is. But for some reason, the Cambridge Clarion Bible, the corners peel up like this. So when you're reading it, the paper kind of will start sitting like that. Now, sometimes it does it pretty bad. I've talked to, or not talked to, but I've heard from people that live in like the South or even the East Coast where it's real humid a lot, and they don't seem to have that problem. I do. When I'm reading this or when my wife is reading it, I'll notice the pages just slightly start to curl up. So if that's something that's going to bother you, you at the very least need to know that it does that. It just kind of sits up like that when you're reading. Just kind of curl up just a little bit on both sides. It doesn't happen to be doing it right now because I just opened up the Bible, but if I sat here for a minute, it would start curling up. So I want you to at least know that it does that, and if that's something that's going to bother you, be advised. But it's still a great Bible. It's a Cambridge Bible. This is a quality Bible. It is a legacy Bible that you will be able to pass on to your children, your whoever, niece, nephew. All right, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Hope you've gotten something out of it. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Have a great day.